Hey, what's up? It's a Saturday and I just got back from training, so I'm gonna take a shower before I get a skin infection. But it's great to see you. I'm gonna go eat and shower and I'll be right back so we can talk about some jiu-jitsu. If you haven't subscribed yet and you've watched more than one video, go ahead and double check to make sure that you have subscribed. And thank you to all those who have subscribed. If you want to be part of the 5K OG group, we're almost at 6K, which is super exciting. But yeah, let me go shower before I get ringworm. And how'd you like my trunk? Right? It's the angles, man. It's the angles. It's the angles for me. Okay, no, seriously. I smell. Be lucky that you can't smell me right now. Okay. Hey, okay, so it's actually the next day. It's Sunday morning. Drinking a coffee and about ready to go to the weightlifting gym. But I wanted to show you like my favorite part of the day. Okay. Okay, wait. Okay, that's it. So I'm gonna go lift some heavy shit and then we'll talk about jiu-jitsu. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah, you know a good vet? Because these pythons are sick. Okay, stop. We're back from the gym. Let's talk jiu-jitsu. I had a question about mouth guards and what I wear to train. So here's what I did for you guys. If you go into the comments, not the comment section, but the description, I have a link here to my Amazon storefront. So I built this for you. That way I have everything in here that you see in my videos. And over here under jiu-jitsu gear, I have 2 mouth guards. The first one is great for people who hate wearing mouth guards because it's very low profile. It has these holes, so it's well ventilated. It's comfortable. However, this mouth guard, I wore it for my first MMA fight, and because of the material, it's a very hard plastic. So when you get punched in the mouth with an MMA glove, you're getting punched against another harder surface. So if you just want to do straight, jiu-jitsu, I recommend that one. It's less expensive. If you're thinking about going into MMA, it's really good to train with the gear that you will use in the fight. So I also linked a second one that's like the Gucci version. This one is a custom mouth guard. What's nice about this is this same mouth guard, if you were to go and get it at a dentist, it would be like $500, and it's now like $94. They send you the impression kit with the putty, you do your own impressions, you send it back. With this one, the first one, I spent the extra money. With the bougie one, I spent the extra money to get the Gag Reflex trim. This past time around, I was like, nah, I don't want to spend the $10. And I have a pretty good Gag Reflex, but for some reason, the way the mouth guard is, I had to trim it myself. So next time, I would definitely get the Gag Reflex trim. Just a heads up, maybe you guys have better Gag reflexes than me. I don't know, I thought mine was pretty good, but whatever. If you've watched more than one of my videos, go ahead and make sure you've subscribed. Let's get into the roll. Today, we're going up against Lucy. Lucy is super strong and she has good moves. She is a very smart player. Right away, she goes for ankle control, which is a pretty smart move. I'm working on my sweeps because she's around my same size. So if I'm going up against somebody around within 50 pounds of me, I can work bottom game that I'm not great at, like my B or C game. That way there's less of a consequence versus if I'm going up against, somebody 80 pounds bigger than me, that's going to be more of a toll on my body. So just a heads up, if you are a smaller player, and it's good to be strategic about how you move during your jiu-jitsu training, because your body will, give you feedback. Here I'm going for an ankle lock. If you ever have a body triangle, remember to always keep the locking side up. So even if they hip out to the other side, keep on switching the lock so that the lock is always top side. And here is the classic: if you can't get over their bottom knee to escape back control, you can always turn into them. So then that turns you from having your back being taken in inside and have somebody having your back to being inside their closed guard, which is definitely an improvement in position. Here I am going, I love pressure passing, and the funny thing is with pressure passing, typically you tripod up in order to exert pressure and downward force with your shoulder into them, but I've been finding more and more that this tripoding leaves me open to get swept. And let me know if this happens to you. I've spoken to a couple of black belts and they said the same thing of like, what is going on? Maybe there's a solution, but here you can see she gets her hook in, and I try to handstand to stop the sweep, but she gets the sweep because my ass is tripoded up. But that's the whole thing about pressure passing. Now in jiu-jitsu, we often ask ourselves, how did I get here? How did I get to this position? And how did I lose this position? So let me give you one key tip for taking back control. Do you see how Lucy got the Kimura grip? And then from the Kimura grip, she tried to take my back from basically like getting on the horse. Well, if she would have slid her bottom knee in and then used her top leg to back heel, that would have been right here. If she would have used her bottom knee and slid that between my elbow and my knee, then used and slid on the ground, then used her top leg to back heel, this is a move. This is a legit on the curriculum move that she would have had back control instead of ending up being in this position where she now has to fight my shitty butterfly sweep attempts. No, just kidding. You know, this position right here is called a shoulder crunch sweep. I need to be sweeping with my right leg, and it would have been more effective if I would have blocked with my outside left leg, the same side as a shoulder crunch. Wait, hold on, let's rewind this. My shoulder crunch sweep was not working because she was posting out with her leg to the side that I'm trying to sweep her on. I keep my foot in her hip and then use that to transition to get a leg over her head and then transition to a belly down armbar. So the finish here was a belly down armbar. So let's talk armbar transitions. Anytime you have any type of guard, if you can get a leg over their head with tricep control, you have yourself an armbar. So think of that. That way you can transition to get and see more armbars. I've been drinking and busting too, and I've been thinking of busting you upside your mohead. And if your friends jump in, oh girl, there'll be more days. Causing confusion, disturbing the peace. It's not an illusion. We run in the street. One great entry in order to pass guard when they're in the sit-up guard position is to knee tap. So hand on their neck, hand on their knee, and then you can swivel them down. So bye-bye to all you groupies and gold diggers. Is there a bumper on your head, oh nigga? I'm doing 100 on the highway. So if you do From here, I then do a knee slice, which is a guard passing technique and half guard passing technique. Then move to mount and work to get up to high mount, and she does a great bridge and roll that was like perfectly timed. And you can see here I get a leg over to go for another armbar, and I'm trying to hike my hips up because the minute your hips pass their elbow line, there's no more armbar because you don't have the range in order to hyperextend their elbow. So she does a great job of pulling out. I have the humor of like a 10-year-old boy. Oh, and she gets all right, she gets a straight ankle lock. So she loves transitioning to ankle locks. So definitely check out how she goes from ankle control in different positions to just grabbing that foot and taking her home.
Oh mama, I'm in fear for my life from the long arm of the law.
Truth be told, you threw me for a loop this whole
Lawman is putting into my running and I'm so far from my home.
Truth be told, you threw me for a loop this whole
Oh mama, I could hear you were crying, you're so scared and all alone.
Truth be told, you threw me for a loop this whole
Hangman is coming down from the gallows and I don't have very long.
Right here, I just transitioned to a far side armbar, and now she has a very tight grip, so I use my foot and weave it in. This right here is an excellent transition. The reason why I do this is because if the armbar doesn't work out, weaving that leg inside their arms gives me a setup to then transition from an armbar to a triangle. So I love doing that because it's a position where it helps to break the grip if you use the top of your foot. And then on top of that, if for some reason the armbar doesn't work out, you already have a backup attack already in play. So it's like it's like playing chess. Instead of playing checkers, you're not going move for move, you're going one move and then you're setting something else up while you're doing that one move. So here's another look at that far side armbar transition. Here is a ankle sweep. As she tries to butterfly sweep me, but I try to cartwheel my leg over in order to get a post on the other side, and she decides to turn me the other way. Here I get my butterfly hooks in to work my butterfly sweeps. One thing that is super important that I didn't realize I was doing until I started watching my ass, basically. In jiu-jitsu, sometimes what you think you're doing is actually what you're not doing. With butterfly guard sweeps, as you can see here, I'm struggling to load her. It's because of my butt position. So when I have my butt far back, it's good because it can act as a post, so it can prevent people from just flattening you out on your back. But when you go to sweep them, I needed to get my butt in. That way I take away the post to be able to bring them, to load them onto me. So that's definitely a key thing that would, maybe it's helpful for you too. Like I thought my ass was not where I thought it was in space. It's funny how that shit happens. Now she wants to take home my foot. That's faux show. Transitioning right now to attack her leg. In any position, if you can get their legs between yours, you have yourself an attack from any orientation in space. Right now, in order to defend against her straight ankle lock, I'm keeping my butt in the air. That way I can keep a flat foot to the ground, which defends most ankle attacks, even heel hooks. So right now the fight is on. We are fighting to take each other's foot home. I am ankle locking her while she's trying, actually I'm heel hooking her while she's trying to ankle lock me, and I get it with a heel hook. No, she's trying to take my foot home. Now remember, during stand-up to fight for inside position, I go for a guillotine. She tries to get me with a sweep. And here's a very important transition tip for guard passing. Something that I love to do is if you're trying to go one way and it's not working, quickly switching to the other direction and running around their feet to their back is a really great option. So here we see, I try to control the top leg while I run around the back. That way I control their hooks, because somebody who has very sticky hooks will find a way to get their hooks in if you're not controlling their feet. Now I'm in mount, trying to work up to high mount, and I learned this transition principle, and this transition principle allowed me to get more arm bars as a counter to mount escapes. So there's a second when we all have a choice when we're rolling. When somebody's trying to do a mount escape, you have mount. There's a second when you can think, oh no, I'm gonna lose mount, or you can look at that transition period as an opportunity to hit an armbar. So if you think of we always, when we first do jiu-jitsu, we hear about leverage, right? So if you think of our torso as a lever, you have one end of the lever, which is our head, and the other end of the lever, which is our butt. So when you feel them get on their side, you can either post in front of their face or even post in back of their hip to stop the propeller from turning. And I personally like posting in front of their face and until you get a leg over, and that's how you transition to an armbar. But yeah, all right, so until next time, keep on training, keep on having positive thoughts. You're doing great, you're getting better every day. Things are coming together every time, even a failure. Even a failure is it's a rep. It's a rep, you know what I'm saying? Just keep repping. All right, till next time, bye.
I want to break free. Should I fall out? Throw it up, throw it up. That's how we fall out. Strip clubs and dollar bills. That's how we fall out. Patron shots, gonna get a refill. That's how we fall out.
Well, somebody told me